All right, guys, we are back at it again, and this is a new hire fresh off of the presses. So, Virginia Tech this year, they kind of replaced Chris Marsh as a defensive coordinator. They got the guy Sealsklis from Wofford, and I love the hire. It's a young hire. It's somebody that was fantastic at Wofford during his time. It's a 30-year-old coach, so it's kind of exciting. It's a new school kind of thought. And you also have like Brent Pry, and you're also going to have Bud Foster helping out this new coordinator, and he's going to be imposing new ideas with Brent Pry. That's already a very, very good, that's already a fantastic defensive kind of guy. But now on the offensive side of the ball, like Tyler Bowen, I didn't even think did that poorly at Virginia Tech. Now, I talked to my buddy who's a huge Virginia Tech guy who watches every single snap of Tech, and I knew that Bowen struggled his first year, and he kind of was like, that last year it didn't get much better. They didn't really close out a lot of games, and they left some wins on the table. Virginia Tech football, and I believe they might have lost their bowl game when they had Pop Watson there at quarterback. However, they're going to get back Kyron Drones. Kyron Drones is going to be coming back to Virginia Tech, so that is massive for them. But I don't really like the hire of Phillip Montgomery. The last time we saw Phillip Montgomery, he was arguing with Hugh Freeze, and that offense at Auburn, first year with Peyton Thorne at quarterback, was a disaster. Now you can point to the following year, 2024, which is last year instead of 2 years ago, and said, well, Derek Nix and Hugh Freeze's offense didn't pop either. So Scotty Montgomery, he was a longtime coach for the Tulsa Hurricane, and, kind of a tougher job there. Then they had to transition conferences from Conf USA to the American Conference, but he never had great success as a head coach. So now he's a coordinator. I guess that he did spend time, with Art Briles. So I guess he comes from the Briles tree. He spent a lot of time at Baylor. All right, so a ton of time at Baylor. He's from Texas, but again, it's not like it's even Kendall Briles. And he was the Birmingham Stallions offensive coordinator. So there's a lot of coordinators that I think you could have went out there and gotten if you were Brent Pry. You could have even tried to maybe get Grant Yudinsky from the NFL. You could have looked at Mike Kafka, who's a sitting NFL offensive coordinator. You have Kyron Drones. You have one of the best quarterbacks in college football returning. You could have went out there and there's a lot of options that I would have been happier with. You could have looked at Indiana's staff. You could have looked at Notre Dame's staff. I can look at Oregon's staff. All right, I'll just give you some names. Like, I think that Rashad Samples, who's the running backs coach at Oregon, I think that he can be, kind of an excellent play caller. I believe that, you have Doug Nussmeier, who coaches in the for the Eagles. I would look at Louisiana's staff. I would even look at Will Hall, who was at Southern Miss, who called great plays with Willie Fritz. Like, Phillip Montgomery hasn't done it in a long time. And you could have went out there and hired, even off of Clemson. You could have hired, you could have looked at Shannon Dawson. You could have looked downstream of that. So there's a million options. And Montgomery's going to have a ton of pressure, and this is a make it or break a year for Brent Pry. I think that we're going right now into like year 3 or year 4 of Brent Pry, and it's been really average football at Virginia Tech. And it's almost looking like Fuente. Maybe it's a little bit better. I know that Pry, the recruiting's better in Virginia with Brent Pry. Like, I like Pry's presence. Just like, I guess, like maybe his personality for Virginia Tech. Like, I love that he's from Virginia Tech. Like, Fuente seems very distant. Okay, he didn't seem incredibly likable at Virginia Tech's role. He was more likable at Memphis, and he won at Memphis. And I've never met Pry or Fuente, but Pry on the outside seems like someone who's really likable. This seems like somebody I'm really rooting for in this case. All right, so we look at his overall record, 7-6, 6-7, and this is in an ACC where, you know, Syracuse is going and winning 9 games. You're having Manny Diaz at Duke win 9 games. So this conference is totally doable. All right. Wake Forest is not very good right now. You know, Louisville is a fine football team. Okay. But SMU just came in from Dallas straight out of the American Conference, and they're sitting there, you know, going to win the whole dang league. So the ACC, it is the worst Power 4 league, and by quite a margin. The Big 12 will kick the ACC's ass. So Brent Pry in Blacksburg, with the infrastructure being around football and not really any other sport, like, you got to give the fans in Roanoke, you got to give the fans in Blacksburg what they want. And Scotty Montgomery is a retread hire. Scotty Montgomery will not come up with creative play calls. Scotty Montgomery, all right, or should I say Phillip Montgomery? Phillip Montgomery, see, if you're Phillip Montgomery, man, you got to get this offense rolling so I get your name even right. Phillip Montgomery's got to do the job at Virginia Tech, and he has Kyron Drones, but I think it's going to flame out. I think that this could be it for Brent Pry. I think this offense could go awry. And, oh, man, I mean, I actually think Bowen was a little bit younger. He was kind of figuring stuff out on the job. I know that he's at Ohio State. He probably got a raise, and he's working O-line at Ohio State. Man, this is, you know, I just don't, I'm not really enthused with this hire whatsoever. I'm just being, you know, and what do you guys come here to see? Do you want me to be all sunshine and rainbows here on Slaughterhouse Sports, or do you want me to tell you what I think about this hire? I don't think there's a whole lot of redeeming qualities to Phillip Montgomery, the football coach. He's probably a good person, a good guy. I don't think that offense is going to get much better. I think you're going to see some of the same stale results that you have been seeing at Virginia Tech. All right, that's what I think. All righty, guys. Let me know what y'all think about Phillip Montgomery in Blacksburg, Virginia.